Welcome back into the Pig Trail Show and welcome into another Arkansas football recruiting report. Otis Kirk and Jacob Morris with you, joined by a very special guest today, Bryce Gilmore, class of 2026 offensive lineman, a heck of a get for the Razorbacks a couple of weeks ago. Bryce, as we begin to talk about just your recruitment, all of the above, what was it about Arkansas that finally to you sealed the deal and said, hey, this is going to be home for me for the next couple of years?
See, the deal for me is finally actually being able to get up there and actually see the environment of the place because every time I went up there, it was more of a turnaround trip. So knowing Coach Mateos and Coach Pittman's track record with the offensive line, it was just a sealed deal.
We've talked a lot with the offensive lineman about obviously just the unique relationship being with Coach Pittman, a guy with such a strong offensive line background. How much of a draw for you was that when you're going through the recruiting process?
It was a big draw towards me knowing I'll be able to get developed there, but knowing Coach Mateos and the way he is with his offensive line, they were like, yeah, he acts like that like throughout. It's not just him like recruiting you, it's not his recruiting talk. That's like generally how he talks to us. So that was good to know.
That's been a theme as well with just, the relationship building between Coach Mateos and the recruits, and then obviously how that's continued on campus. For you, what does that relationship with Coach Mateos look like? How did it start and how have you seen it kind of develop throughout the process?
Um, it really started like 2 weeks before my birthday. He started like really starting to text me and stuff. And I was like, okay, am I about to be offered by Arkansas? You know? And he gives me a FaceTime call on my birthday. I don't know if he knew it's my birthday, but he FaceTime called me and he basically was just telling me how he was watching my film going through the 26 or whatever. And he wanted to let me know that I had a full ride there to Arkansas. So like, that was one of the best birthday presents I've gotten, you know?
I was gonna say, how'd that stack up to the rest of the birthday gifts you got there?
Yeah, it was crazy because I was like, how did I, because it's like something you don't expect, you get all the calls from your family and stuff. And later on, I've just built this relationship with him, and I was like, yeah, this is who I want coaching me.
What to you about Coach Mateos feels different than maybe some of the other coaches you interacted with? What kind of separates him as a guy that, makes him such a great offensive line coach?
What separates him for me is knowing some of these offensive line coaches, I didn't seem like their guy for real. Like I just seem like another recruit, like, oh, if we get him, we get him. But if we don't, there's still others out there. So that was something big that Coach Mateos didn't make me feel like. He actually made me feel like I was wanted there at Arkansas. So
Switching gears a little bit here, I want to talk about your family background. Your dad obviously with an NFL background as well, but talk me through, how you began to get into offensive line as you grew and all the above. Because he was a wide receiver, right? So what's the difference between there and how have you seen that relationship kind of develop playing different positions?
it was weird because my mom wanted me to play, she wanted me to play basketball, so I really grew up playing basketball. And then it was my freshman year, really, where I showed up to SAC camp for all other sports instead of football. And the head coach at the time, Coach Smith, and all the football coaches, they're like, show up to the earlier workouts, you'll like it better. And ever since then, I guess I was just drafted to football. So I've just been rocking with it.
For Razorback fans that haven't got a chance to see you play, describe your play style. What type of offensive lineman are the Hogs getting here?
You're getting a guy that loves the run game. That's who you're getting. A guy that likes to be out in space and hit linebackers and cornerbacks, but I like to get down in the trenches and move defensive linemen off the ball if I have to.
Otis, I'll hop back in a little bit later, but I'll turn it over to you.
The linebacker stand no chance against this guy. Uh, hey, I meant to ask you when you visited, and I forgot. How tall are you and how much you weigh?
I'm
There's a
s-
reason I'm asking.
yes, sir. I'm 6'5", 300 pounds now.
Okay. Here's the deal with Bryce, Jacob. Now, I'll say this for everybody out there. He's one when he says 6'5", 300. A lot of kids don't look that big. He is one that looks bigger than that. I'm not doubting that's your side, but I mean, he's one that when he says 6'5", 300, because a bunch of the offensive lines, he's one that if he told me he was 6'7", 350, or 320, I would have believed it. He's just bigger than he looks bigger than he is, than what he is. That's a compliment, by the way.
Thank
Just
you.
when you look at this thing, and Arkansas is doing pretty well in Texas. Is that something that impressed you? Have you noticed how many other Texas kids that are coming to Arkansas in this class?
Oh yeah, it was funny to me because like it's like, dang, there's actually a lot of Texas kids in this recruiting class going to Arkansas all of a sudden. I'm like, because it's just funny to me because you think about it and you're like, oh, once I get to college, I won't care if there's a lot of Texas kids, but like knowing that those dudes like are really around my area, kind of, it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, they get where I'm coming from, getting a little ways away from home, and yeah.
If you talk to Hugh Smith, any the lineman from Houston,
Hugh Smith,
yeah,
yeah, we talk a little bit, yes, sir.
yeah, he's from your close, I mean down that area. He's been on here, and we had a good talk with him, and I met him obviously when he visited. But just what do you see for the Arkansas team this fall? I mean, what do you think about it? I know they got a brutal schedule, but what do you see about this Arkansas team coming up in 25 this fall?
Well, considering I've seen their spring practice compared to others, I've seen the environment of the offensive line and other rooms there. I think that they're going to do way better this season. And that's not me speaking on them just because I'm committed there, but like I generally believe what all the players are invested in, and I see their mission,
Yeah.
and I think they're going to go farther.
Did you when you visited? Did you get a chance to talk to Corey Robinson or
Yeah,
Fernando Cremona? Any of those guys?
yes, sir. On my OV, I really talked with Corey the most, but Fernando was there as well.
Corey Robinson, that was a big gift for them in the portal last year when they signed him. He moved in. It showed Fernando's attitude, not being selfish, that he would move from left tackle to left guard. So Corey could play left tackle. A lot of people, seniors, wouldn't do that. He started there
Yeah.
last year. Just, Jacob and I got to say it on here. People like this don't grow old trees, and you certainly fit that description. I mean, I hate to keep going on that, but you walk by it was one of the spring practices. Jerry Meadows, who works for this company, and I were going down to talk. It was towards the end of practice. We were going down to the interview room, and you walked right by us with someone. I don't remember who you were with. I think one of the grad assistants or something. But man, we looked at you and said, "That's what linemen are supposed to look like." You walked right by us, and I tell you what, that's the first time I'd actually seen you. I believe that's the first time I'd seen you in person. And
Yes, sir.
yeah, both of us at the same time said that's what offensive linemen are supposed to look like. Just when you are you midterm or do you graduate
Yes, sir.
next
I'm gonna be a
May?
midterm. I'm gonna be a
Okay,
midterm.
you kind of feel excited about that because I mean, really, it's June right now, but hey, man, it's only a few months till December.
Hey,
When you sign January, you'll be here. You pretty excited about that?
I am super pumped to be up there mid-year and actually get in the program earlier.
How good can your high school team be this fall?
We're gonna be real good. I can't even lie. We have a lot of D1 talent on our team, and but the thing is you can have all that talent, but it's a matter is about the bonding. And we've been bonding lately a lot. We've been going to Stover's house, Sean Stover, who's a Duke commit. He's our center, and he's been hosting like little get-togethers at his house, pool parties, volleyball, all that stuff, and just seeing everybody there, laughing, getting ready for the season. That's like huge to me.
Kind of a family atmosphere, team bonding there at high school. Kind of like I think that's one thing you told me you liked about Arkansas. It's kind of a
Yeah.
family atmosphere,
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just as far as the position, have they talked to you about the exact position you might play, or is it left tackle, right tackle, or they said,
He's me at left tackle right now.
yeah,
That's where he wants me at.
yeah, I figured so. I mean, Corey will be a senior, but how? Look, I've got an opinion, but your opinion. How quickly can you play at Arkansas? How quickly can you make an impact? Not just play, but make an impact.
Make an impact. I
Yeah,
would say make an actual impact my sophomore year.
yeah,
And the reason why I say that is going to SEC program, it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough for a while and it's going to be a grind. So I'm going to say by sophomore year, I think I should be really ready to make an impact for this program. But my goal is to try and start rotating my freshman year
right.
and have a really good spring my freshman year just to see if I can really stack up to these players I'm going to be playing against. So sophomore year, I say, is when I'll be making a huge impact for this team.
I agree with you. I think you can get in the rotation or at least be in the at least be in the two deep, your true freshman year. I'm not talking about redshirt freshman. I'm talking about true freshman year. And then, like you said, make an impact. It's hard for a freshman in any position in the SEC to make an impact. But I think on the offensive line, it's even more difficult. But did the who was your player host when you visited, or did you say that already?
It was Corey Robinson.
Okay, yeah.
He was my
I thought
host.
well, he hadn't been here that long either. What did he tell you about Arkansas? Why did he tell you why he chose Arkansas and what he liked about it?
We were really just chopping it up. Like, it wasn't much as talk as Arkansas because I kind of already told him at the time, yeah, I'm just going to be committing here,
Right.
and he was like, yeah, like, he was hype and stuff. We had to keep it a secret for a while. And it was just like Corey is just one of those dudes that you want to hang around,
Yeah.
like he's like a genuine dude.
Oh
And
yeah.
knowing his game, and we were talking about Georgia Tech for a little while, the school he was at and stuff, and Kansas and all that stuff. And he was like, yeah, I've been blessed to see the field, but I really wish that I could have chose a better offensive line coach that actually developed me like Coach Mateos would. So knowing that he thinks of Coach Mateos as highly as I do, that's huge. That I'm not the only one seeing that. So
Do you have a favorite player, offensive lineman in the NFL that you try to model your game after somewhat, or maybe more than one?
I love Panay Sewell.
Mm,
He's like, and the reason why is just how technically sound he is and how
mm.
nasty he is in the game, and he can move. Like, that's the dude that I idol in the game.
Do you study how he does it when you watch him play? Study little moves and things. Just,
Yes,
hey,
sir.
that's a pretty good trick. Maybe a thing or
Yeah,
two he does that you can
add
learn.
that to add that to my belt, and
I,
I'm just trying to master moves, just get ready for the season and get ready for college.
I think that's probably enough for me, Jake. If you
Yeah,
want to jump back in,
I'll,
appreciate
I'll
you, Corey. I
yeah,
mean,
I'll hop in
Bryce.
and
I'm sorry. Talk about
You
Corey.
good?
I'll hop
Talk
in
about
with a
Corey. I got Corey on the brain now, man.
I'll hop in with a couple more. It's funny when you said Panay. That was the first person I thought of when you said, you like to get out and hit linebackers. So that's funny that you ended up going there with your player comp. I'm curious, going back to your dad, what type of football conversations do you guys have just in terms of he obviously, I'm sure he's played a big impact in you in terms of your development, but just in terms of playing different positions, what does that look like between you guys?
So since he doesn't know much about the position, he he wants me to focus a lot on my punches and strikes and like pass pro because he knows run game I love and that I will try and not mess up at all. And so he just tries to help me on my pass sets and stuff, like just my punches, timing and all that. But he really engraved one thing in my head is your first two steps always matter in a play, regardless if it's pass pro or run game. So that's like the little advice that he was able to give me, and it's helped a lot lately. So
You've talked about obviously run blocking to that point being a strength for you. You talked about goals at Arkansas. Where do you see yourself saying, hey, maybe I got to grow in this area if I want to be where I want to be once I get to Arkansas?
one thing I have to grow in is I false stepped a lot last season in the run game, but I was able to make up for it. But false stepping got me a little bit sometimes against greater players. And then I would also say my pass pro wasn't as near as it should have been because I wasn't taking the right angles. I wasn't mixing it up at all. I was just taking the same sets and latching on to dudes, but I wasn't changing up my sets, making them confused and like have them guess on what I'm doing every time instead of actually knowing. So I just want to be a jack of all trades, you could say, kind of like I don't want to be like the mediocre dude that does the same thing every time. Like I want to be trying out new things.
You talked a little bit about obviously your goals once you get on campus at Arkansas. It seems like a really measured perspective of saying, "Hey, I know it's gonna be SEC might hit me in the face a little bit, but I'm gonna adjust and get there." How excited are you for that opportunity to get down midterm and just kind of see what it's all about and kind of start contributing as quick as possible?
I'm extremely excited because I like knowing that I already like the players there up in the offensive line room. I know I won't be like I'll be able to ask people for rides. Like I can talk to people actually up there because that's one thing. You go up there, you're 17-year-old, you're like, will I really like click with these dudes
Yeah.
for real? And like on my OV, I did, unlike some players on my other OVs, and it was just like, okay, I can hang out with these dudes and I'll be fine. I'll be with the right people, as my mom says. Don't hang around the wrong people, hang around the right people. So
Absolutely. We always ask, had you ever been to Fayetteville before your official visits or your different visits, and what was your perspective of the area when you got here?
So the funny thing is my first time I went up there was the summer junior day of my sophomore year heading to junior year after I got offered. And Tucker Young, that's where I first met him at, and he committed on the OV. I was like, dude, what like, cause everybody was in their meeting room, right? And Coach Pittman was talking and he says, if anybody has anything special to say, please stand up. So he stands up and he's sitting like right next to me. He walks down and he just tells everybody in front of us that he's committed. So knowing that, I was like, so what got you committed? And he was like, well, firstly, I live in Arkansas, so I already know the environment's good for me. It's like my fit and everything. And then Coach Pittman and Coach Mateos, like, those are two dudes that'll develop you. And then coming back on my spring practice visit for them and seeing the way Coach Brown, Coach Pittman, and Coach Mateos are all there, like just coaching the offensive line, I was like, okay, I got three dudes I can rely on to help me with my offensive line game. And I was like, that's gonna be huge for me. That's gonna be a game changer to help me get on the field quicker and be an impact for this team.
That's awesome. Otis, you got anything else
Uh,
before we finish up?
just a couple things. Tucker was been on here a couple of times himself. He's good too. What did you? I forgot to ask you. What did you? And I didn't ask you on your visit. What did your parents think about you going to Arkansas?
They love that choice. Cause uh let me see. Cause they, how parents know when a school is right for you and
Mhm.
wrong for you. They knew that Arkansas was right for me because they were like, this is actually the first place you were like, you really seemed engaged. Like,
Mm,
cause sometimes I don't know it myself, but like I just get carried away sometimes, or I just be like bland. Cause my O-line coaches and coaches back at home here, they'd be like, dude, you have a serious RBF, which means like,
yeah.
and it's just like my parents, they know it too. It's like when they saw me really smiling out there with the players and stuff and with the coaches and just, being there, they're like, yeah, this is a school for you. But
I'll
yeah,
close with this. I don't know what it takes to be a 5-star recruit, but I tell you what, you're a 5-star in my opinion, and also you're a 50-star human, man. Better, as great as you are on the football field, you're even better person, and I mean that. I think Arkansas fans are going to love you, and sure appreciate you for who you are. Just stay the same, man, because you're the best. You're one of the best out there, and I'm talking about on the field and off. And that's like I said, you're a great person, man. And just stay with that attitude and the attitude you've got, and you'll be fine, man.
yes, sir. Thank you.